welcome to another Lawn Fawn video. Today we're introducing two brand new die sets. We have our palm trees die set, and then we also have our ocean wave accents die set. So the first thing I wanted to show you was how to snip apart the ocean waves accents. So there's a couple of them that are actually meant to stay together, and you can tell if you see them there with that thicker metal in between them. Those are the ones that stay together. So the only metal you're going to snip apart when you separate them with your wire snips are those thinner pieces of metal. So we'll separate it just like that. And then we'll leave those thicker pieces of metal completely intact. So here you can see those two pieces there that are kind of ocean waves that are bonded together, and then the separate ocean waves that come in the set too. Now these ocean wave accents are meant to do a couple things. One, they're meant to add ocean wave accents. So what you can do is die cut them into your scenes. Let's say you had an ocean scene and you have this really great die cut detail that looks really, really cool. So you can see the three waves there and those two waves there, which I think is just so beautiful. And then here is a look at what those individual waves look like. So we have a really long one down to a really tiny one, depending on what you need for your scene. And then here is a look at all of the different waves that this die set can make. Now the other really cool thing, other than having it as a decorative accent, is that you can actually use these as almost like little pockets to hide things in. So then it really looks like that boat is in the ocean. So we have this medium and larger size ones, and you can see you can peek that little shark right out, and how cute that is. So not only is it an accent, but it's kind of like a little peekaboo too. Now these are the palm trees dies, and those are all the cute shapes it creates, and you can see how you can layer the leaves on top of the trunks, and then there's little coconuts that you can put in the palm trees too, and I think it's just so adorable. That little crab makes me smile so much. So now it's time to make a card with these. So I'm going to cut out a bunch of pieces out of some white cardstock, and I'm going to add some color to these using the Lawn Fawn inks. So I am starting off with celery stick, and I'm going to tap my little foam ink applicator there into the ink, and then kind of tap it off to the side and then sponge it on to those little palm leaves there. And so you can see the color is really building up, kind of blending together, and it really looks really pretty, gives it kind of a nice dynamic look. Now to give even more shading, I'm taking freshly cut grass, which is a darker green ink, and going along the edges of all of those palm fronds to define that cute kind of little detail of the die. And then I'm also going to add a bunch of green sort of towards the bottom of those leaves so that I get kind of a little gradient between the light and the dark green. So you can see there I'm just sponging it on right to the bottom, and I love how that looks. It just adds a little extra something. So now I'm going to take the same exact idea and do it with the trunks of the trees. And here I am using dough and walnut ink. And so I'm going to blend on that dough and then use the dark one again around the edges to kind of accent those little cuts from the die, and then also to accent the bottom of the trunk. I also created a trunk here with antique linen and walnut stain from Distress ink. And so you could use your Distress inks, you can use your Lawn Fawn inks, and have a lot of fun coloring your die cuts. Here I am using carrot and sunflower Lawn Fawn inks for this little sun die cut that comes from the Sun and Moon die cuts that came out last year. And you can see how pretty that little, I'm just sponging a little carrot onto the sun that I did in sunflower. And I love layering the die cuts when they're colored with ink this way. I think they just look so beautiful. And then last but not least, I'm going to add some lobster ink to this cute little crab. Now another way you could color these die cuts is with your Copic markers. And in this case, I'm adding the darkness the same way that I did with the sponging, except I'm just doing it with my markers instead. And you get a really cool look this way too, so it kind of just depends on what you want for your card. But here you can see the Distress inked and Lawn Fawn inked one on the left and the Copic marker one on the right. So it's two different looks, but they both look really awesome. Now here I'm using a die from Say Cheese again, the largest die there. I'm going to cut it from some white cardstock. And I've also got this little piece from the Ocean Wave Hillside pop-up add-on. And so it's got this beautiful stitch detail, and I've cut that out of some peacock cardstock. And I'm going to use my Ocean Wave accents to give that piece even more detail. So I'm kind of going to line them up where I think would look good, and then I'm going to hold them in place with some tape and run it through my die cut machine, and you can see how it's really added a really cool look there. I'm going to trim down some mermaid cardstock to 3 by 3.5, and that's going to be my sky in my background. And I'm also going to take some craft cardstock and die cut that with a simple stitched hillside border. And now I can start to layer all of my scene building elements. So I added some tape to the back of that little Polaroid die cut. I'm going to lay my hill there, and then I can lay my cute little ocean scene there, and then my sky and my sun behind that. So I'm going to kind of add adhesive there to the backs of everything and keep layering all my pieces until I get this really cool scene. So I'm going to layer those all on top of each other and then trim off any of the excess. I just love creating scenes in these Polaroids. I just have so much fun doing it. It's really fun to layer these die cuts. So now that we've got that going, I'm going to layer some palm trees, and I'm actually going to trim off a little bit of the shorter palm tree because I want it to be even shorter in this scene, and then I can just tuck that right behind the Polaroid die cut there. And then for a really kind of cool look to give it more dimension, I'm actually going to add this tree on the outside of the Polaroid, and I really like that look. I think it looks really neat. I'm going to trim down a little piece of black licorice cardstock to adhere to the back of my little crab there so I can color in his eyes and his mouth there with that black cardstock. I've also die cut a scripty aloha from some mermaid cardstock, and now I'm just going to trim down some watercolor cardstock here for the base of my card, and I wanted to do some watercoloring with a reinker because I thought that would be really fun. So I have my guava ink pad reinker. I'm going to put a little bit onto my mat, and then I'm going to add water to it with my paintbrush and then test it. And I'm going to water this down until it's kind of a really pretty kind of mid-tone pink. So see, I water it down some more, so a little too red, add some more water. And I love that you can use your ink reinkers to be watercolors too, which is so cool. Then all I'm going to do is to create some kind of messy stripes in the background. So I'm just using my paintbrush and just creating stripes. And this is really fun because you can create your own pattern paper to match your card perfectly. And it's actually really fun to do too. I find using that brush really, really relaxing. So I'm just kind of creating messy stripes, filling in different areas there. You can see I'm kind of trying to make them not all be exactly the same, so it just looks really unique and different, and it kind of almost looks like a beach towel, which is really cool too. And so I'm just going to keep picking up that ink and then adding the rest of my stripes, and I love how it is looking. So I let it dry, and then now I can start to layer everything on top. So I'm going to add my little crab with some foam tape there, and then I also die cut another scripty aloha from Storm Cloud cardstock, and I'm going to layer these two but slightly off. And it's going to make it kind of pop out more. I think it just looks really, really cool with kind of that dark gray outline for the letters. So I'm going to lay my card base there together. So I've got my little watercolor piece on top of my card base. I'm going to add my whole Polaroid scene with some foam tape and then add a little liquid glue to my kind of offset aloha there. And I love the look of this. It totally feels like summer. Makes me want to go on vacation. So happy and so fun. And then now I have some really cute samples from our design team for you. Shari's amazing sunset scene is so cute with those palm trees, and the shark from Dunna is a perfect addition. And this is the card that inspired me to make mine, and this card by Melissa is so fun. I love that aloha on there so much. And then Melissa Stinson created a beautiful scrapbook page in which her decorative accents are the palm trees. And this is the other card that inspired me. This card by Yanea is so pretty. I love how she colored them with her Copic markers. It's just gorgeous. This one by Letitia is absolutely beautiful too. I love those soft blue and soft green colors. And then this beautiful sunset by Lizzie is just stunning. I love that background that she created. So I cannot wait to see what kind of amazing scenes you guys are going to create with these palm trees and ocean wave accents. So make sure to share it with us. Thank you so much for watching today and have an absolutely amazing day. Bye.